Namaskar, everybody. I'm sure a lot of you watched the series of conversations that I had the honor and privilege of having with my spiritual guru, Pujya Sakshi Shree Maharaj, on various aspects of spirituality and what it means to be spiritual in the modern world. Today, we are back with another very interesting conversation. This time on something that probably touches all your lives in multiple ways. And this is about a very interesting and important and timely movement that Pujya Guruji has started on, focused more on young minds. It's called the Young Mind Movement, and the tagline of that is unleashing immense powers within. So, what is this movement? What is a young mind? Who is a young mind? How do we cultivate this? This and all other aspects related to this movement is what today I will have pleasure and honor of having a conversation with Guruji. And in the process, I'm sure all of you will also know about this movement and join this in large numbers to support such an important movement. So thank you, Guruji, once again for this conversation. And it's always an honor to speak to you.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, Guruji, what is the main objective of this movement, the Young Minds movement? I think introduction about what it is and its objectives would be very useful.
Vikram, the basic objective behind Young Mind movement is the youth and youthful both need that the limitless hidden potential that is within them, that needs to be explored, expanded and unleashed. The fundamental point which I would like to convey is simply this, that throughout the whole life, the youth never gets an opportunity to become able to utilize more than 5 to 7% of the powers of the mind which are already latent within him. So, your mind is a treasure house of limitless powers, and how unfortunate it is that only a very small fraction, 5 to 7%, we manage to use in our lifetime, and the rest of the great treasure remains unexplored, unutilized, and we leave this world without utilizing the same. It is just like the treasure which you may be having within your house, but you don't have the keys to unlock it, and you remain deprived all through your life. So, that kept on troubling me since quite long. And you see, the sages and seers of India, thousands and thousands of years ago, had invented the science, the great science, which if rightly applied can ensure with great ease the unleashing of the limitless powers of every individual that are hidden within. And now we are very unfortunate that we have not paid attention to this important dimension of our life, and we are trying to teach children, we are trying to teach and educate the youth on this level, that level, higher and higher levels. But the fundamental thing where from the greatest achievements can happen, we have not been paying attention. That's why I take a firm resolve, and I made great experiments. I went into all the ins and outs of the process as to how the hidden treasures can be unlocked. And when I came out with very powerful and effective devices, then I thought there is no other way except to launch this movement on a large scale, and not only in India, but this movement must spread all over the world, so that a new humanity on this earth can be created, which can be able to utilize optimum powers that have already been endowed upon him from the nature.
That seems like an all-embracing movement, which is as a...
Yes, Vikram, this is very significant, and I have put my whole life energy, all my time, and I can do anything for this noble adventure.
You mentioned something very interesting, Guruji. You brought up a distinction of youth and youthful. Just in terms of numbers, for some of our viewers who are tuned in, according to the United Nations, anyone between the ages of 15 to 24 is considered as young. In India, the Youth Affairs Ministry and so on extends this to 15 to 29 years of age. And if you take the UN definition also, I think there are almost 1.2 billion young people in that 15 to 24 bracket. That's almost the population of an entire India. And in India itself, given our immense population, we are the most populous country. 27.2% of our population can be classified as per the government as young men and women. But you said youth and youthful. So does this mean it has nothing to do with age and it's a state of mind, or it's the physical age of the person that you are referring to?
Beautiful, very relevant question. I would like to suggest that all these definitions, whether India is defining it or the UN is defining it, these definitions are very much limited. They are based on very wrong assumptions of the mind, the youth and the possibilities of our growth. What I personally feel, that age has nothing to do with the concept of the youth. You will be surprised to know that I have come across people of 70 and 80 years old whom I have found younger than those who are 17 and 27 years of age. You will find many young people who live like older ones, and I have no shame in expressing that majority of the youth have become old by virtue of their mind. They are not mentally alive, not mentally agile, not mentally young. You see, youth is the most valuable stage of life when young people are at the peak of their energy. This opportunity can be utilized in unleashing the hidden treasures, but most of the young people realize it only when they have missed it, and then nothing happens. That is why I launched this young mind movement. But at the same time, there are many more men who have got such youthfulness that they are flexible enough to do anything for unleashing their limitless treasures. So they should not be deprived of this opportunity. That is why I tell you, young mind movement has nothing to do with the age of the individual. If the individual is flexible enough with the eagerness to learn and go deeper and deeper to enhance his powers, to enhance his energies and to unlock the treasures which are hidden within him, then he should be provided this opportunity. That is why this young mind movement, it is for all those who are young. No doubt they are in more privileged position than those who are old, but then there are youthful people of any age who can play a role of a young mind and who can ensure the unleashing of their limitless powers in much bigger way than even the youth. So they are also welcome, and I want to convert the whole humanity of the present times into young minds. That is why, and this young mind movement starting from India is bound to spread all over the globe, and for the same I am also wishing that you should play a vital role in letting this noble effort spread at the nook and corner of the whole globe.
That will be my honor, Guruji. I'm happy to know, as I'm sure many of the viewers too, that even I'll be eligible to be a young mind, not restricted by my age. I would have thought, oh, I've crossed the bus of 29 years. But yeah, being youthful.
Your youthfulness was the only factor that attracted me to invite you for this discussion.
Thank you. Guruji. Thank you. Guruji, now I think we should dwell a little into what are the different features of a young mind. I think one of the important feature of youth, as I understand, is this restlessness, this thing of an effort to always challenge the status quo, not accept what is stagnant. Right from the times of Gautam Buddha and others, a power of rebellion, going against authority. That authority could be anybody, your parent, your teacher, or somebody trying to put rules against you. So is the power of rebellion an important feature of a young mind of any age, and what is its significance according to you?
The most fundamental fact about the young generation is that they have been conditioned in such a big way that they don't have any identity of their own. It seems that they have no brains to apply. It seems that they have no inner instincts to work upon. It seems that the way they have been taught from the very childhood, the way they have been conditioned, and whatever they has been put into their computer brains, they are just following the same like a robot. And that is why our young generation is not being creative. That is why the young generation has become blunt. That is why the young generation has not been able to exude that vibrance, that intelligence, and that creativity. What I personally feel, that the first fundamental quality of a young mind should be that he should not be ready to accept what does not seem to be right. He should be courageous enough to drop the path that has proved wrong according to his experience, and at the same time he should have the courage to walk on the path which seems to be right according to his own experience. But today majority of the youth are afraid of dropping the path on which their father or forefathers have been treading. They are not in position to say no to something which has already proved to be wrong, and they are holding on to it just because the society is doing the same, just because the family is doing the same, just because the nation is doing this, just because others are doing the same, they feel compelled to follow the same. If the youth is following and living this lifestyle, it means he has started putting his own possibilities to an end. So the first quality of the young mind must be to be able to rebel against all the wrongs that happen into his life and career, and he must have the strength to revolt against it. Just as you said, had Gautam Buddha continued to follow the traditions and principles and the religions and the ideas which have been taught to him by the society, by the parents, by the teachers, or by the whole environment that had been around him, no Gautam Buddha would have been born. So the first quality is the young mind must be having the courage not to follow the beaten track, but to invent his own path that seems right to him.
I think another important feature, another youth icon for the young people and young minds comes from our own civilization, I think, of someone like Adi Shankaracharya, who as a young child left his small village in Kerala, went all over the country.
Yes,
rejuvenated.
Yes, he was 9 years of age, and sometimes intelligence is so sharp that even at the age of 9, and one can think of life and the world as it is 100 years, 500 years, or 1000 years ahead. But even those who do not even dare to take decisions based on their own instinct and own calculations, and if they continue to remain conditioned and to live like a robot, it is a grace to the individual. himself. What happens? That a number of things have been forced upon the child from the early childhood, and it becomes impossible. Psychologically also the child is trapped. So it is not everything that depends on the child only, because once you have castrated him by forcing so many things from early childhood, and it is said, the psychologists say, that by 7 years the total education of the child gets almost complete. Whatever he had to learn, he learns through several ways. Once you have already filled him with the concepts of bigotry, with the concepts of narrow mindedness, caste, creed, religion, all this nonsense which have proved curse for humanity since times immemorial. So you have created a robot. So even the society has got to be awakened that such conditioning is not warranted. Let child is a flower. Let him bloom. Let him grow to be himself, rather than trying to make him Hindu, Muslim, Christian, Marxist, communist or capitalist. Let his own seed grow and flower into his own being. The ultimate flowering should be of the individual himself. That is why Lord Krishna says, Swadharme nidhanam shreya. Swadharma does not mean Hindu dharma or Christianity or Islam. Swadharma simply means the seed with which one is born, and the qualities and traits, the intrinsic nature that comes with the growing seed. That is the Swadharma of that individual. So that Swadharma should be allowed to flower, and by conditioning we are destroying the seed. We are destroying the possibilities of the seed growing into a plant, destroying the seed for the possibility of its ultimate flowering. So a great movement for unconditioning is also to be launched, which is a part of the young mind movement, and in which support, consensus and acceptance of the whole society is needed. Now we are growing. Humanity is getting mature day by day, and in the 21st century we can claim that we are now a well matured humanity. And so the concept of this conditioning, and through this conditioning creating caste and communal hierarchies, creating terrorists on the planet, this is going to sap up the strength of humanity. So the whole humanity should become conscious, aware, to take sincere steps towards unconditioning of the child and the youth. And the youth must be awakened to become responsible to its fundamental requirement.
To do that, Guruji, don't you think another feature of a young mind, we were talking of Adi Shankaracharya, he left his home at a young age and he probably left his mortal body when he was in his early 30s. But before that, so many things that he achieved and left for all of us as a treasure. He was a seeker. If he had already believed and, as you rightly said, conditioned his mind, he would not have sought for things.
Yeah.
So is that another important feature? What is the importance of being a seeker and not a believer?
In fact, being a seeker and not being a believer is a byproduct of the first fundamental maxim which I said, rebel against the conditioning which has been forced upon you. If you follow the conditioning, you will be forced to become a believer. Every individual should be allowed, should get an opportunity to seek his own truth of life. And I want to tell you, everybody has got to seek his own truth. And truth of every individual is hidden inside. Truth about your own self can be gained and gathered from within you only, not from outside. Right? And who else can get it for you? Your truth, your intrinsic nature. Who can give it? Only you will have to do it. And I have to tell you that this intrinsic truth can be gained only by moving your energy inside, inward. If inward movement of energy is not there, you will not be able to explore yourself. There is only one way, there is only one path, only one device invented so far on this planet. If you want to explore yourself, if you want to explore your being, if you want to explore the truth of your life, if you want to explore the truth of your intrinsic nature, if you want to connect yourself to the original source of your being, you will have to turn your energies inward. Nothing else and no other device can ever be useful. I am telling you the essence, the crux of all the science of spirituality developed so far on this planet by Hindus, Jains, Christians, Buddhists, everywhere. I am telling you the crux. So, any sensible scientific approach is to ensure that the youth turns inward to find one's truth, and the truth of every individual is separate from the other. Every individual is meant only to grow his own seed and take it into flowering. And if every individual can do that, this whole humanity can experience the peak of consciousness just within 20 to 25 years. And this is something which I want to encourage through the young mind movement. And secondly, I have to say that once you start believing as a part of your childhood conditioning, what happens? Any possibility of your own personal discovery is destroyed. Since you have started believing that God is there, since you have started believing that only my book contains the solutions to all the problems of this life and this world, then all your talents will become limited and you will never be able to explore your own hidden treasures. You will never be able to apply your own brains to search, seek and find the truth. Once you have believed it, then there is no need of searching anything. So, the possibility of searching, seeking and receiving is instantly destroyed. This is the first disaster that happens because of the belief systems. And the second disaster is, once you start following your belief, then you start sticking to it with all your strength, with all your nonsense, you will pursue it. It may be even a poisonous effort. It may be even suicidal act, but because it is a part of your belief, you will stick to it with all tenacity and it will ultimately destroy you. That is how terrorism is flourishing on this land. That is how do or die concepts for this ism or that ism are prevailing in the whole world. If we want to put an end to all this nonsense, we have to create youth and young minds as seekers, not as believers.
So beautifully put, Purunji. And I think comes so naturally to the Bharatiya tradition. The Indic faiths and Indic philosophy itself has been neti neti. This is not the final word.
Yeah, yeah.
Ekam sat vipra bahudha vadanti.
Yeah.
So we have always embraced all aspects.
Yeah,
of the
that is the beauty of our
my way or
Indian
the
sages
highway.
and seers. The great wisdom, the scientific wisdom of our spirituality is this, that we always encouraged everyone to explore your own truth. We never said this is the last word and take it for granted. That is why on this land the Charvaks were born. They said this matter is everything.
Materialist.
Whatever is visible to the eyes is the only truth. And that is why they said, Yavat jivet sukham jivet radham krutta kritam vivet. They thought all this concept of spirit, spirituality, soul and God, they rejected it as nonsense. And as total materialists, they had been educating their own.
That is also accepted.
That is also one school of thought. And one school of thought, while propounding its views and concepts, no doubt people were forced to think more about it. When they thought more about it, then they went to the another extreme, that no, spirit cannot be denied. At least this provided them the opportunity to explore something more. But they again started saying that matter is nothing, only spirit is everything. The outer is nothing, the inner is everything. But that was again the another extreme. And since we allowed them all to exist together, then from among those there came a people who went for deeper and deeper search, and they came with the truth that body and mind, the inner and outer, the material and the spiritual, both are two dimensions of the same reality. The subtlest dimension is spirit and the grossest dimension is matter, but the entity is the same. And you will be surprised, this Albert Einstein, the greatest scientist of the century, he discovered this truth that everything in this universe is only energy, and even matter is nothing but energy in its condensed form. The most condensed form of energy is matter, and then the subtlest form is spirit, energy, electricity, whatever you call. So, my conclusion is, young minds must embrace both the dimensions of the reality, the inner and the outer, the material and the spiritual. They will try to achieve the heights of material growth, comfort and excellence on this planet. At the same time, they should also focus their attention on their inner well-being, on their inner joy, on the expansion of their own consciousness, because without growth of consciousness you will not be able to make the best use of your material treasure. Your material treasures at their peak and your inner consciousness overflowing with inner joy, combined together, the Charvak and Buddha meeting together and creating the best of the two. That is the young mind movement for creating a new humanity on this earth. Yeah, this is totally a great revolution, a great transformation, and we have to bring it about.
But don't you think to be able to do that, the young mind or the mind has to not be caught up between the memories of the past and the imaginations and fears known and unknown of the future, and live in the present moment?
Oh, so beautiful, Vikram. You have really attracted my heart. I want to tell you something very important at this point. Old men are always thinking of their past. They are involved in their past memories. How beautiful was my childhood. How beautiful were the days of my youth, and all the facilities and joys they enjoyed in their youth, everything. They are always singing songs of the past. This is general tendency I found in all older people. And I have very closely watched the children. Small children are always trying to grow old. They are always thinking of the future. They are totally involved in the imaginations of the future. But the young mind which I want to take birth in this century, I want that young mind to die to the past and to die to the future and learn the art of living in the present moment. If you can live in the present moment without any care for the past and without any worries of the future, you will truly grow young. You will truly grow younger and younger, because a tremendous energy of this existence will be available to you. Your most of the energy is involved either in the worries of the past or in the worries of the future. No energy is available for you to remain in the present. That is why people are never in the present. People are living always in the past or always in the future, but never in the present. If all your energy is withdrawn from the past and all your energy is withdrawn from the future, a tremendous explosion of energy happens inside you. That explosion of energy is the energy of joy, the energy of wisdom, the energy of godliness, the energy of enlightenment. So, this is the most important dimension of the young mind, that he should learn the art of living in the present moment. You may ask, how will he get answers to his problems if he is not going into the past or thinking of the future? With my own experience, I have found that once you start living in the present, you develop a tremendous capacity to respond to any particular situation in life. You gather tremendous energy to deal with any problem that is present at the moment. The response comes from within, simply because energy is available to you in the present. People on this planet are never responding to any situation. They are simply reacting. People say that they are acting, but in real terms, they are only reacting to situations. And there is a big difference between responding and reacting. Response is something that comes from within you, uncaused by the others, and reaction is something which comes as something caused by some outside force or outside person. For example, somebody has thrown a big abuse on you. Now 10 times heavier abuse comes from you towards him. That is a reaction, not action, because you don't have your own energy to respond. Your energies are either in the past or in the future. You don't have any energy to respond. So, you will simply react. Only a very few people have been able to act on this planet. greatest majority of the people are only busy in react. They may be higher and higher in power and money or prestige, but they are all reacting. Once in a while a Buddha is born, a Shankaracharya is born, Krishna or Christ are born. They are a few people who simply acted, they never reacted. Some person out of anger had to spit on the face of Buddha, but Buddha just wiped off the spit and asked the person, please let me know if you have to say something more. So this was not a reaction. These people could act and did not react simply because their energies were overflowing in the present moment. Up till now it has been that only a few people have been able to walk on this earth in the present moment. But now the science of spirituality has grown so much, and people like me have worked so hard on developing and imbibing this science, that with a little attention, greater and greater majority of people on this earth can learn to live and walk in the present moment. So this young mind movement has been launched for the whole humanity.
Closely linked to what you said of not living in imaginary fears and whatever thoughts of the future, is for a young mind to also be very ambitious, and that ambition is rooted only in the future. I want to become this, I want to become something. So how does one tackle that contradiction?
Oh Vikram, that is again a very relevant question, especially with regard to the youth and also with regard to the rest of the population, because all through the whole life every individual is trying to become somebody. Nobody is happy with himself. Everybody has to become this thing or that thing, this body or that body. Everybody has got to become president or prime minister. This is what we call ambition. Ambition simply means everybody wants to gain more power than others, more prestige than others, more money than others. This greed for more and more than others and others is the fundamental principle on which ambition is based. Yes or no?
I have a few doubts, Guruji, whether I don't know if I completely understand. I can't have the audacity to say I won't agree with you, but ambition, almost it made me feel, I don't know what the viewers thought, to be a bad word. If I'm not ambitious, if there is no desire, I may not be in competition with someone else, but with my own self, that I want to become a better writer. I want to become better than what I was 5 years ago. That is an ambition, that is a desire in me. And I'm sure a lot of young people have that ambition for their future, which it's maybe wrong to be hyper ambitious or over ambitious beyond, or pit yourself in competition against someone else. I want to become better than him or her. But is ambition itself a bad word, that we should not be ambitious? Then life becomes stagnant and death.
Quite beautiful, Vikram. Your doubt is very meaningful. But what I have to say, that when you say ambition, it implies that you want to achieve something which others have not been able to achieve, or you want to achieve something more than others have achieved. So the achievements of others have become a problem, a source of trouble to you, and then you are trying all your best by fair and foul means, somehow or the other you want to go ahead of that person. Either it is a matter of money, or it is a matter of power, or it is a matter of prestige. See what is happening in your society. It is only the ambition, and the fundamental cause of this ambition is ego. It is for the fulfillment of the ego. Ego does not get fulfilled until and unless you are higher than others, and until and unless you are highest than all the others. So, there is no end to the ambition, because reaching at the highest level in any dimension is possible only for one, and even if you reach at the highest level, that too only one can reach. The rest of the 99.9% people, they will be suffering from the fever of inferiority. This will become poisonous for their growth. This will create poison in their minds, and it will kill them. It will kill their souls. It will kill their mind, heart, emotion, and they will also develop physiological diseases, mental diseases. You see, anxiety and depression are the byproducts of this disease only. If you simply think of getting better and better in the work you do, in the work you love, then the work itself becomes your joy. You are a poet, you are a historian. As a historian, you are trying to explore the facts of history. You are trying to make analysis of the facts and principles which have been governing the forces of historical development, and you are trying to reach more and more enlightening conclusions. The more and more you grow, the more and more work you develop, you start feeling some more and more inner satisfaction, inner joy, because you are growing, you are doing something worthwhile. So, if you progress in your work against what you had been up till now, tomorrow you will be something much more, and then in coming days you will be many times more, and this growth will not create any disturbance inside you. It will not create any inferiority in you. It will not create any tension and turmoil in you. Any tension and turmoil, any anxiety and depression is created only when you compare that the others are getting this, others are getting that, and I am not getting this, I am not getting that. Why? I am feeling deprived. Then anxiety and depression is caused. So, ambition always implies that the fever of comparison is there. It also implies that your interest is not in following your passion. Your passion is not awarding you the inner fulfillment. Had it been awarding you inner fulfillment, you would have bloomed like a flower and enjoyed the work you have been doing. Either you are not pursuing your passion, or you have become under the grip of the fever of comparison with others. Otherwise, the side effects of working hard and achieving progress in the form of anxiety and depression would not have come into your life. So, try to understand. Sometimes, just to console ourselves, we happen to discriminate that my efforts of work and progress do not fall in the category of ambition as compared with those who are busy in ambitious projects in comparison with others. Whereas truly we are doing the same inherently. If you closely watch, you will find that the comparisons must always be there, or the fundamental thing which happened to you, your love, you are not doing that. Suppose you have fallen in love with your spouse and you are enjoying all the beauties that love can offer. Will you like to compare it with anyone else? I can say you will feel quite satisfied, fulfilled, and you will like to let this love grow more and more without any anxiety and depression. Your love will be an antidote to anxiety and depression, even if it is coming into your life because of something or the else. But now the question arises, most of the people who are victims of ambition and its byproduct of anxiety and depression is simply because they are doing something which they were not meant to do. A person who could be an excellent doctor is taking rounds in the corridors of district court as a liar. He will never succeed as a liar, and he will never receive any fulfillment as a liar. For extraordinary success in a specific field and for extraordinary fulfillment in that field, one thing is required, that whatever you do must be your love, and majority of the people are doing that thing which is not their love at all. Most of the young minds, they have been put into jobs which had not been their choice, but it had been the force and pressure either of their parents or of the teachers or of the society or of the trend, because of the financial requirements, that they are doing the job which they were not meant to do. So, they are neither meeting extraordinary success nor any fulfillment. If both these things are not there, either extraordinary success or inner fulfillment, if both these things are not there, the person will become victim to anxiety and depression. And and then it is most important for the young minds first to identify what is there, and all the educational institutions are under an obligation to help the young minds to be able to find out their passion. This is the most important part of the educational institution, which no educational institution is doing all over the world. And these young minds, these poor fellows, are falling victim to the exigency of the situation. Whatever comes to their hands because of this or that, they have to do it, and they all are totally destroyed, dilapidated in their lives.
Don't you think closely linked to this is also the connection between your intelligence and your creativity?
You see, that comes next. The first thing is how to find out the passion. When Lord Krishna says Swadharmene Dhanam Shreya, how to find out the passion, how to find out the love that one would like to do. The first thing is certain, that somebody is born only to flower and bloom to the optimum. If there is rose flower, the only aim of rose flower is to bloom to the fullest as a rose flower. But if the rose flower wants to become a lotus, what will happen? Number one, it will never be able to become a lotus. Yes or no? And the second thing is, its possibility of growing into a blooming flower will also be destroyed.
It will remain sad that I have not become the lotus.
And it will be sad that I have not even bloomed like a full blown rose. So, what will be the result? Anxiety and depression. The flower will die of anxiety and depression. How should young minds be motivated to find their love, to find their passion? That was a question which a little back asked from a student in a seminar. And I would like to tell all the young minds watching this, the only reason because we have to pursue some other thing than our love, than our passion, is that there are attractions of money, power and prestige in other fields, not in the field which is my passion. But again the question arises, how to know, how to find my own passion? My experience says that if you once decide that you have got plenty of money and everything that money can buy, then what will you like to? Suppose as a young boy, you have got multi-millions, multi-billions at your disposal, and now there is no need to earn money, and you have not to earn money, this is certain. Now what will you like to do? How will you like to spend your time? Think of it and start doing something. Whatever will come to your mind about doing in that situation, that will certainly be your passion. Yes or no?
Totally, Guruji. I think I can relate to that more from my own experience.
Yeah.
That where I think society also, the first thing what we spoke about conditioning, being a good student, I was forced to get into science, engineering, in which also I excelled. But my heart's desire
All
was,
those things went futile.
yeah, totally, totally.
They proved of no use in your historiography or in your music,
Yeah.
or in all the arts which you have been pursuing as on today.
Yes, but I knew heart of hearts that my passion was in writing, in history.
Yeah.
And I remember even now going to my corporate job, it was literally like crying every morning saying, am I going to die one day? Calculating profit and loss of some American company. So
Wonderful. That's a good. Your own personal experience has given a good message to the audience.
so that courage also should come from within, that it's a risk taking.
You had the courage to take the risk. Otherwise, there are very many others who keep meeting me and they get destroyed simply because they don't dare to venture on a field which is unknown to them, like historiography, like music, like other arts in which you have been involved.
I think there, including I must credit the support of my parents, because unless your parents and elders give opportunity, I think it's more for
I can understand.
the older people to allow the young person to pursue their passion and make their passion their profession. So once they come there, I think what we spoke earlier about this clash between intelligence and creativity, the right brain, left brain combination, that is usually always a conflict. How does a young mind, resolve that inner contradictions and conflict? Or is there a conflict at all?
You see, creativity and intelligence, these are two most important dimensions on which the young mind must focus. Because growth of intelligence is something which is going to do everything for the youth. And I want to tell you some very important fact in this regard. Medical science and psychological researches have proved this fact, that our intelligence stops growing after the age of 14. That is why it is said that the whole humanity is largely stuck at the age of 14. Because by the age of 14, the work of the nature has become quite complete. Now the person becomes capable of creating and reproducing. So the function of the nature is complete. Now you can produce at the age of 14, produce and reproduce children. Now you become capable of satisfying your fundamental natural needs like sex, food and maintenance of family. If you are interested only in this much, then no more intelligence is required. Up to 14, the nature has helped you to grow it, and with that much of intelligence you can continue doing all these things throughout your life. And that is what people are doing. Sex, food, maintenance of family, which all the animals are also doing. All the humans are also doing the same thing throughout their lives, and then dying, and then again coming and doing the same thing, repeating again and again the same thing. That is why the enlightened master said, Punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam, punarapi janani jatare sainam, Adi Shankaracharya, about whom you talked a little earlier. He said, it is because of this that our intelligence does not grow. We keep on repeating the same cycle. But if your aim and goal of life is to go something beyond, if you are interested in growing your intelligence to the extent of becoming Einstein or Buddha, then you will have to do something to develop your intelligence, something more than the nature has been able to do. And for doing that, up till now, there has been only one device. No second device has ever been invented so far. No medical science has ever been able, no psychological researchers have been able to discover anything more than that. And that is, you will have to turn your energy inward and go for practicing meditation. Meditation is the only device for reaching the heights and peaks of intelligence. And once you practice meditation for reaching the peaks of intelligence, you will find that your intelligence will become uncountable, immeasurable, that cannot be measured. The intelligence of Gautam Buddha cannot be measured, because your energy is engaged in the discoveries of your innermost interiority. The energy is moving inward, and there it is creating explosion of your intelligence. And if you can do that, your intelligence can become as good as the intelligence of this existence, that is infinite. So, for the young minds, as I told you, the basic objective of young mind movement is to unleash the limitless powers hidden within. So, for growth of intelligence, which means unleashing the limitless powers hidden within, the young mind must, without a shadow of doubt, make meditation integrated as a part of his life and living, an essential part of his life and living. And that should be done at the earliest age in life. The earlier, the better, because the possibilities of growth of intelligence are available in greater proportions at the earliest age, when the sex energy has not been used for reproductive purposes. Then the same energy will create another door for upward movement of energy, and that will create the explosion of energy. That is why this young mind movement is extremely important for the emergence of a new humanity on this earth. And then I want to tell you, intelligence is simply the energy of your intellect. When you get identified with your mind, then intellectuality is born. But when you remain unidentified with your mind, then intelligence is born. Try to understand. Intelligence means that your whole being is open to the existence. Intelligence means you can see anything without any prejudice. Intelligence means you can listen to anything without any prejudice, just as you have been listening to me wholeheartedly, trying to understand what Guruji is saying. This is intelligence. Intelligence means that you can be with things without any a priori ideas. Once you are sitting with someone, talking, listening, doing things with your own prejudices, with your own beliefs, then you are neither listening, you are neither seeing, you are not being with the person. Then intellectuality is born, because you are identified with your mind. You are not open. With intellectuality, you cannot discover anything, you cannot invent anything, you cannot explore anything. Intellectuality is required in the outside world. There it is useful, because you can gather information. Intellectuality can be utilized for writing histories, for writing the principles and philosophies of the science, making an analysis of the facts and driving conclusions. No doubt they are of immense help for the outside world. But in the inner world, if you remain identified with the mind, nothing worthwhile can be created. Therefore, the fundamental thing about growth of intelligence is keeping our intellect not identified with the mind. Energy is the same, intellect is the same. If it gets identified with the mind, its purpose gets limited. It can solve limited purpose in the outside world and no purpose in the inner world. If you are not identified with the mind, then even in the outer world you can make explorations, make discoveries, invent things, create science about anything, but this remaining not identified with the mind, not remaining identified with the intellect is must.
That also requires a lot of maturity, isn't it, Guruji? It's so closely associated with that aspect also of a young mind.
What do you mean by maturity? Maturity simply means that man has grown from the animals to the state of man, and then from manhood to godliness, and experiencing the state of godliness is the ultimate flowering. And this, what is the essence of this ultimate flowering into godliness? The essence is you again become a child, regaining your innocence. Every child is born innocent, but every child loses his innocence. Yes or no?
Yeah, the playfulness of being.
Yeah. Loses his playfulness, loses his innocence, and becomes a man, a corrupted man. Right? Very few people have been able to regain their innocence and thereby experience godliness. People like Buddha, people like Krishna, people like Christ, people like Shankaracharya. They were born as innocent child, they lost their innocence, lived as a man, as a general human, and then they achieved enlightenment. Enlightenment simply means coming back to regain your innocence of a child. So, for attaining this maturity, only one device is there, that is the flowering of meditation. Only this can lead to you to the state of innocence of a child, which means, in other words, attaining a state of godliness. It is difficult, very difficult, to regain your innocence before losing your innocence. Just as long as you see a fish in the waters, if you ask the fish about the ocean, she says all the talk of ocean is nonsense. I have been trying to understand what is ocean and I have never been able to come to know. Understanding ocean means self-realization. But once the fish is thrown out of the ocean, lying on the sands and bearing the heat of the shore, when the fish is struggling for life, now it understands the value of the ocean. It understands what ocean means. So once you have lost your childhood, now you start desiring for peace, for innocence, for joy, for playfulness. It becomes a target. And when you start getting glimpses of the same through meditation, then you start making an all-out endeavor to regain the same which you have lost, to regain the ocean, to regain the innocence. That is what I mean by maturity. And this maturity, which is possible only through ultimate flowering into meditation, is mandatory for all the young minds.
Along with that, how much is an awareness which comes, I think, with the intelligence of what is virtue, what is sin, what is good, what is bad, the discriminatory power of being able to see between the binaries. That also, I think, is a very important component of a
Obviously, Vikram, I would like to tell you that awareness is simply a byproduct of meditation.
Being in the present. I think all are interlinked to each other.
All are interlinked to each other. Intelligence means awareness. The more and more aware you are, the more and more intelligent you become. And when you become totally aware, you become enlightened. Becoming totally aware means by now people are only aware 5 to 10% of their possibility of awareness. It means their consciousness is 93% still in the dark. They can become more and more conscious by practicing awareness. And the fundamental quality of every young mind must be that he should not live like a robot, that he should not do anything of his life in automation. De-automatizing is mandatory because everybody is living a mechanical life. He is eating mechanically, drinking mechanically, producing children mechanically, reaching office mechanically, doing interviews mechanically, walking mechanically. Awareness means whatever you do, that should be done consciously. If you are moving your hand, you must know that the hand is moving. If you are taking a cup of tea, you are enjoying each and every sip of tea with total attention and involvement. Absolute involvement with the act, with consciousness is the only requirement for doing everything consciously. I don't want people to do any extraordinary effort for meditation. Simply do one thing: attach consciousness in all your activity. First try to do it in 5% activities, because at the moment 100% of your activities of life are being done unconsciously. So start with 5%. Take up 2-3 activities, such as while in the morning you are taking a cup of tea, make it a point for 5 minutes to drop all thoughts of doing anything. Be with the cup of the tea and the taste of the tea for 5 minutes. Likewise, take 2-3 activities. Another activity you may take while taking a shower. Not asking you to do anything. Whatever you are doing, simply change the quality of that act. While taking a shower, get totally involved with all your energy into taking the shower. Let the shower not only make your body wet, but let each and every single pore of your being feel the impact of water, its coolness. Likewise, you can take a few more activities. For example, you are taking your dinner. While taking dinner, make it a point to be alone and enjoy the dinner with total awareness. Each and every activity while taking the food must be done consciously, and see the quality of your food intake will change. The taste of the food will become 10 times more, and that food will become amrit, because you have attached attention and consciousness to this act. So your small activities will become meditations. Then no other meditation is required. So practicing awareness gradually in more and more activities of your life is also a device for the young minds to become more conscious, and that will lead them to ultimate fulfillment in life and to experience the peaks of achievement in their life. It will ensure the unleashing of limitless powers that are hidden within them. They will be able to become truly superhumans living on this planet, and that is my dream for the 21st century man.
How wonderful. Thank you, Guruji. I think in this segment, we covered so many aspects of what are the characteristics of the young mind.
Yeah.
Right from awareness, living in the present,
Yeah.
intelligence, creativity,
Yeah.
matter and spirit. And I think, and being rebellious, being charting your own course, not following the beaten track, not being a robot or a mechanical life,
Yeah.
and the fundamental value of meditation to achieve all of this.
Yes, very true.
So in summary, this was what I think was the crux of this segment. I think in another segment we should explore what are the challenges, particularly that a lot of those who are conventionally in the young category by age, what we defined in the start of this segment, chronological age. A lot of them have lot of problems, lot of confusions, lot of issues. And I think spirituality and an enlightened master like you is the only person who can show a sense of direction to some of these issues that they face. So maybe that is something we can explore in much detail in the coming segment.
Very true. I would love to do that in the next session.
So in this segment, while we've had a very nice integration of all the different components of what it means to be a young mind, I think it's also important to focus on some of the challenges that particularly a lot of people who belong to that segment chronologically who are called young, as we defined in the beginning of this segment, what are the challenges they face? And I think no one better than Sakshi Shree Maharaj, an enlightened master like him, and Indian spirituality to give a sense of direction to many of these souls, young souls, who are probably confused, who are trying to find their way through the maze of life. So in the next segment, we would discuss more with Pujya Guruji about some of these challenges, what they are, and how do you overcome them with the help of spirituality. So thank you, Guruji, for your time and the immense knowledge that you have bestowed on all of us. Thank you. Thank you, Guruji. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.